All right, guys, I'm just back here over at the shop again. I had to fix the solar panels on my shop. My magnets just didn't hold up over time, especially to Arizona monsoon. So I just screwed down these panels before the next storm here is rolling in. But I switched it over to power the Bluetti AC300 we tested out a few months ago. I've been neglecting it quite a bit, so I've ran the battery down fairly substantially. So even in the full sun, I'm only pulling about 260 watts, and the lights in here, 88 watts. And of course, there's really not that many lights that I'm currently using, but I'm keeping those 6-volt batteries charged up, periodically turning on that fan, and I have been using this fairly substantially to run the whole shop, especially as I was working on my 2001 Beaver Patriot Thunder. So as I've been driving across country the last few months, I've neglected putting those panels back together, and that's why the battery pack is nearly depleted. But now recently I brought a 2006 Country Coach bus down from Denver, from Colorado, and I had it here at the shop and I was working on it. But if you've ever had a bus or a motor coach, you have to know that they need to be plugged in all the time. And even if my solar was hooked up to the Bluetti, the 30 amp output that was coming out of it would still not be enough for a bus conversion. They really do not like to be left unplugged. So I've also been looking for another answer for having 50 amp with a lot of battery backup to it. I have some answers for that. One of my components is on the other side of the country I'm testing out. I did just a few days ago travel to Southern California to do an inspection in Ramona on a 2018 Precept. And since I was in Southern California already, Bluetti reached out to me and asked if maybe I could just drive up the street a little bit. It's about 2 hours to Chino, California, to take a look at another component they're in the process of working on that might solve a lot of my problems and might solve a lot of your problems too. Not just for RVs, not just for motor coaches and buses, but the other thing that's near and dear to my heart, homesteading, off-grid cabins, and even emergency backup for your house. So I had the opportunity. I was in California. I just dropped by real fast, and I was able to take a look at a new product they have coming out called the EP800. Now I'm continuing to work on my 2001 Beaver Patriot Thunder. And while I like to think that I'm a decent RV technician, I really don't think I'm a fantastic interviewer or videographer, but I did try my best to find out what the EP800 was all about. So this is like the headquarters of this area, or like the U.S. headquarters?
This is originally they had their first like warehouse and air office in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So we have, here's our EP900 that you possibly might have seen online. Some marketing. There's a new EP800.
This is the EP800.
Yes, EP800.
I really appreciate it.
Dillon.
Dillon, thank you very much. Now, what is the role of the EP800?
I don't know if you know about like our larger, like the AC500s, how they can work in 240-volt split phase. Those larger units over there.
Okay, right, working together.
So individually they work fine as UPS systems. You
right.
gotta do 120-volt, no problem. But the biggest problem was people were having an issue with the UPS function with 240 volts. So when they work together.
Okay.
And the problem with that is because there's two separate units. There's some time for them to communicate with each other, so there's a little bit of delay. And with these units, that's where they kind of solve that issue, because it's kind of two of the EP500s in one device rather than them having two portable devices.
All right.
And so this is where the 800, it's 7600 watts. The switching time when the grid cuts out from charging, it'll be, I believe it's sub 2 milliseconds.
Okay.
Rather than where it's with the 500 and 300, it's about 2 seconds.
Okay.
For charging when you have them in split phase.
I was gonna say, this is just strictly basically like a UPS system right now.
Pretty much.
So you have
they call it a UPS. They call it like an EPS, emergency power source, because they don't want to, for sure have the title of UPS just in case something happens.
Sure, I understand that. Okay, but it could be used in that.
Yes.
Right. But this is basically just shore power coming in, keeping it charged up.
Pretty much.
And then if you're gonna lose power, it would take over.
Yeah.
But it does have built-in solar charge controller. You need a solar charge controller.
You have two solar charge controllers built in right here. I believe one is 3,000 and 6,000 watts of capability, and you can plug them just straight in.
All right. Does the MPP charge controller take a voltage from Like 200 volts?
I think it's from 150 to about 500 volts, I believe,
Okay.
is the range.
But this is two separate controllers, or are they parallel series?
I believe they're two separate controllers, but they're in parallel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so this is basically the inverter charge controller all built in here, and these are the battery backups down below?
Yep. The brains and then the guts.
And how many batteries can you link up together?
Up to 4 for one device.
Okay.
And for one EP800, you can have up to 4 of them, and that'll give you close to about 20 kilowatt hours.
And I assume that everybody would like to know, but so this is 240 by itself?
Yeah, they can do 240 and 120.
All right, so it doesn't have to work with another one.
No, it does not.
All right. How does it handle high loads? When I think of like welding, could you actually weld if you were hooked up to this, or would that damage the controller?
I think it might damage the controller because you need a lot of amperage for welding. So I think the maximum is about 58 that you can output.
Okay.
But of course,
58 240.
Yes, I believe so. So if you have to go over that 58, then it will have some issues, of course.
Right. So like an RV, this would handle a 50 amp service, no problem on an RV.
Just the only kind of problem with the RV is that this is kind of a little bit more of a set it and forget it. It's not as portable. It's kind of where those ones, you can toss them in your RV storage and stuff like that, have something wired up. But with this, it's kind of have to have the stand, or you have to have somewhere specific for it.
Right. It's definitely not weatherproof, and it's not portable.
Yeah.
These are just nested together. There's no bolts or anything holding it together, so you could, with some effort, lift it up out of there, but that's pretty heavy. In this setup right here, you're calling it, it's not a EPS, emergency power backup. Could you use this in the sense like a Tesla solar wall or power wall?
Yes, yeah. This is supposed to be a direct competitor to the Tesla.
So it is a direct competitor for it. So you could have it professionally installed by an electrician, and then like local utilities would actually recognize this for
the EP800? No, the EP900, yes. So
okay.
This one is our on-grid system.
Okay, so
but the thing is that with this, it kind of draws people away because they don't. A lot of our customers, they don't like to deal with the utility company.
No, that's what I don't like to either.
So that's what this one kind of takes out the utility company. It's basically just input output, where this one is bidirectional.
Right. Right. So if you were trying to maximize and sell back power sort of thing, that would be the way to go with. But if you just want to be self-reliant, you can utilize it. You can buy power when it's cheap at night, save it and use it during the day. I assume you have a app.
Yes.
You could actually manage it a lot better.
You might be able to see.
A lot of my interest on something like this, and a lot of other people's, would be not strictly for RV, but you think about tiny homes and cabins.
Right.
This would be a perfect opportunity because you could be completely off grid.
Let's see here. So it's a little bit. Everything's basically done off the app. There's no screens, no output ports, no nothing. So it's just the app. You can come in. It tells you everything from your line 1, line 2 output and input.
Okay.
Things like that from your solar, all your solar arrays that you can adjust. You got your settings and whatnot over here about device, but usually when you're online, because I'm not logged in on the.
Sure, no, I understand.
When you're logged in, you have more options to play with.
Obviously, a few questions I would have is, so let's say you do have solar hooked up to it, but you're also hooked up to city, to shore power. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, what would you call it?
Grid shore power.
Grid. Thank you. And let's say your output load is, I'm just going to throw it 3,000 watts or whatever. Mm-hmm. And solar is able to do 2,800 watts. Mm-hmm. Would it supplement using grid power so that you're not depleting the batteries, or how would so if it's a cloudy day, you're not putting out peak power,
right?
But you're still hooked up to grid, or is it just going to charge off one at the same time?
I believe it can charge off of both for the speedy charging, but I think you can be able to set it up for how you want it in the app. You'll be able to adjust what percentage the battery will get to before it starts drawing from the grid.
Okay.
And how much you can set a percentage to it'll charge from the grid, and then it'll stop. Let's say at 70%, you say you only want to charge from solar after 70%.
Okay.
You're able to set that.
And the interesting question that I always come up with too, or get asked. Level 2 electric car charging. I know it'd be very inefficient, but if you do have solar hooked up to it, And then you're saying it's 6,000 watts.
6,000 watts at the top and then 3,000 at the bottom.
So that's nearly 10,000 watts of solar.
Yeah.
Am I thinking that correctly?
No, you are correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be quite a bit of output just to actually, without using the onboard batteries.
Right.
If you were just charging an electric vehicle, and it would be 240. So it should theoretically at least be level 2 charging. So, I mean, that's basically your own gas station.
Right, of course.
For free travel anywhere. What is so these are lithium iron phosphate batteries?
Yes, sir.
And it's just quick connections right there?
Simple connections, yeah.
And they all have their own disconnects right here?
Yep, they got their own little breaker boxes.
And so they work like the other one. If you turn this one on, it turns the whole thing on?
Yeah, you can turn, I think I believe they are off at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, you flip all of them on, turn one on. Oh, here it is. Top one. Bottom one came on.
Yep. There you go.
Little by little, it'll start powering.
Waking up?
Yeah.
That looks very professional. These do have 90-degree connectors on it. There's a quick connect on this side. Disconnects the battery, just that simple.
Yeah, I really
I like how everything's out of the way, so if it is stored somewhere, you got good airflow around it.
Yeah,
and it's not
because
gonna
they do also have a cover. These covers.
Oh, because it does have a cover.
They're a little sleeker.
And the MC4 connections.
Yeah, everything that needs to come through will have a proper port. Like you can see on this side, like these ones, there'll be a plate over here, and these ones will be flush with that plate.
Okay, so these just don't have plates.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I think they're the same for both sides.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So it does cover it. Gives you good airflow coverage on it, and it does protect those MC4 connections from breaking off from anything hitting on it. And just below, there'd be a cutout right there. Yeah, it's incredibly slick, very protected, and it's well designed, well thought out. Look at that. Nice and flush on that side. You guys are really thinking it through. I like all these purpose-made cables. It's very clean, very slick with a disconnect, very easily marked. Wow. These are all paralleled together.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, because it looks like it's just all positives together and all negatives together. These are 90-volt batteries, so almost twice the voltage of the standard Bluetti batteries you talked about. And over on this side, besides having communication cables, there's even a USB. So no wireless phone charging on top of this, but you still do have USB connection right there. That's accessible. The brains of the system will automatically balance out the battery, so you won't have one of these at like 80% and another one at like 15%.
That's what the BMS system is there for.
All right, because I think I've been seeing a few of those issues where.
The biggest problem that we've had with the unbalance, is with the 240 system with our smaller units.
Okay.
With the split phase, but that's because they are two separate systems that have to work together.
All right.
And when you do split phase in your home, half phase A goes one side of the house, phase A goes the other, or phase B goes the other side. So,
right.
If you're in your kitchen,
you might have an unbalanced system to begin with.
Right.
Okay. But if one line power was using 30 amps, the other side line power was using 15 amps.
Yeah, that's
I should do it in wattage. I understand. I'm sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it.
So you would deplete this battery before that battery because that battery won't feed over to this system and vice versa.
Correct.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And with the purchase of the EP900 and or 800, the panel does come included with the purchase. The sub panel.
The sub panel, the disconnect. Okay. Point out is this is the sub panel from Reliance Control. This is built specifically from Racine, Wisconsin. So it is built 100% in the U.S. strictly to Bluetti as their supplier. They do have a quick connect port underneath for different options. You can hardwire it or plug it in. As you can see with this adapter right over there. Lots of functionality to that. It does come with the breaker on top that automatically disconnects grid from the emergency power and vice versa. It looks like these are the Eaton style breakers. Yeah, Eaton. Very nice. So that works directly with Bluetti. That's a Bluetti product made in the US. As far as the battery, the BMS, it's all built in. A lot of people are concerned about fires. I know lithium iron phosphate's a lot more stable, so you don't really have to worry about that at all, but it has like a temperature control on it, so you need to keep them from freezing, right? Get them from what?
They can be outside as long as they're like in a little kind of shed.
So you do have like you can get a
yeah, I think it's a little Bluetti cover. Yeah.
So it has its own heaters built into the batteries themselves, and it will keep charging, and you can discharge them even at those low temperatures, right? Without hitting any sort of like safety cutout.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to provide additional heat. It'll actually protect itself.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Wow, that's really even more important in an emergency setting.
Yeah, definitely.
Because usually it's when it's really hot or really cold where you need that emergency power.
Yeah.
That BMS will also kick in heaters at -4 degrees Fahrenheit. So really plug and play. No maintenance to be done on it. No worries from the consumers and the user end about doing anything. You can say you can link 5 together.
4 together.
4 together
underneath the EP800.
All right.
The only thing for consumers to worry about is firmware upgrades every once in a while.
Okay. Does it need a Wi-Fi connection at all times to operate? I've used other solar batteries and UPS systems where if it's not connected to Wi-Fi, you almost can't do anything on it. It's very frustrating.
Most of our all the updates go through Bluetooth. So
okay.
I mean, as long as your phone can receive mobile data and Wi-Fi, you'll be able to accept it with the update of the app, and then they'll push it to you.
Well, fantastic. What would be the warranty period of something like this? The life cycles of the charge-discharge of the batteries, if there was an issue, because it does have the inverter, charge controller, and probably all the switch relays built into it, right? What is that? What's a consumer looking at for when it comes to warranty?
So warranty, I believe, is a 10-year warranty because that's
for the entire every component on there.
I believe so. It's 10-year warranty for the whole stack, Tom. Yeah. So it's a 10-year warranty for the whole stack because I believe that is like industry standard.
Okay.
Sorry. Well, the other
battery life, life cycles.
The life cycles, I believe they are about 3,500 life cycles. You know.
That's from fully charged to fully discharged.
Yeah, I think it's about 80. They did it to about
8%.
Yeah,
right.
And that's 3,500. So every day from 0 to 80, it's about 10 years.
Right.
So
you can charge this up, charge an electric vehicle like 3,500 times, and go to installation instructions for this one. So if you were going to do on-grid connection, if you were not like off-grid, you wouldn't need to worry about power coming in. It would just be the solar array.
Well, I guess the only worry from input you worry about with this would be charging. So you'd be able to charge from a generator, gas generator, or from the grid. So if you want to have the grid powering this and charging the batteries up, you could. If you don't want to touch the grid.
But it looks like it has hard connections on this point.
Yeah. So
so it's not like you just be able to plug in.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were talking about putting a port on it, but it's kind of talking about it still. So hopefully we'll be able to. But
no, it's a built-in weak point because you can have bad connections that can start causing problems. So that's not a bad idea too. All right, is this available currently?
No, this is not. I believe they're going to start marketing this within the next 1 or 2 months.
It's been through robust testing at this point.
Currently going through the final stages of testing.
All right, I found Bluetti to be quite a robust product already.
Usually, when people ask about the EP800, they say, "Oh, there's no marketing or advertising or anything." It's basically the same thing as this.
Right.
It's just off-grid. Because the only reason this is 9,000 is because you have to supplement from the AC coupling with the grid.
Right, but this one has to be professionally installed. But that's the whole reason why you'd be getting this.
You have to have a licensed electrician install this because if you're going with the grid type, you need to get the permits with the utility in the city. You have to get all the permits.
Right, exactly.
So you need a certified electrician to help you out with this. You can use some basic electrician. You can even do this yourself.
If you know
how to wire a panel.
Right, it's all modular, so it's not even like those those computer rack batteries that are. They're getting better, but this is pretty impressive. That's a nice tower. It does look like it nests together really well. Is it pretty steady? Or?
Yeah, good. Because it has in these corners. The only problem, if somebody's gonna grab it and hang on.
Right, I assume in California we definitely want to strap it down.
Because they have all these little pegs on it, so that, they have these little slots for everything to hold, so they'll fit inside very nicely. But you can tell all the cabling and wiring. We go with this system with 240 volt to make it a whole lot slimmer, a whole lot sleeker.
No, it's a beautiful setup. It really is. So 2 months to get
roughly,
till it's about released. Is there a price point you guys are going to be at?
This one, the EP900 with the 2 batteries, released at about, I think it was $10,000. So for this, there's 2 batteries.
Right,
for
$10,000.
Okay. I have heard that this is supposed to be a little bit cheaper.
Okay.
I don't know how much cheaper. I haven't heard a price.
No, I understand.
It is supposed to be a little bit cheaper than $10,000. I guess the same setup, the one inverter with 2 batteries, should be a little bit cheaper than
okay.
the 900 is.
And then additional battery, we don't know yet?
Do you know how much the batteries are, Tom, on their own?
Price?
Yeah, for the batteries.
Plus maybe ask them and maybe
Okay.
Okay.
So usually we like to say about $1 a watt hour.
Okay.
So we say roughly about $5,000 per battery because it's around what the capacity is.
When it comes time to purchase, how would you actually purchase this? Is it going to go through the website? You have to find a local...
It would be all entirely online.
All entirely
So
online.
we don't have any storefronts, unfortunately, at the moment. But
Okay.
But usually you can purchase it from the Bluetti Power site.
All right.
Straight from there. We do have financing on there as well, so they'd be able to help you out.
All right, so bluetti.com basically?
BluettiPower.com.
BluettiPower.com.
Yes,
There you go. This is kind of exciting because this could be... we use the term too much in the world. This could be a somewhat game changer. Clean, quiet power is kind of the dream, right?
Yep.
Especially if it's free. You get... That's nearly 10,000 watts of solar.
Yeah.
It can handle.
Pretty close.
That's... I only have 6,000 on my house.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. All right, Dillon, thank you very much for the time. I look forward to it coming out and taking a look at it in the field. Thanks a lot.
Of course, no problem.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was the EP800 from Bluetti. I'm sure there was 1,000 questions I didn't ask that you guys were yelling at me to ask them. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear you at the time. It does seem like a fabulous product. It also seems like something that will successfully bridge the gap between professional installation and do-it-yourselfer when it comes to homesteading, off-grid cabins, or emergency home preparedness along with UPS systems. It really looks very impressive. I do hope to see more of it with my off-grid shop. Could solve a lot of the functionality issues that I'm having, like I complained about with the cord being too long on the side of these batteries right there. And of course it has 50 amp true 240 hookup to it without having to buy two AC300s and balancing out the batteries when it comes to use. Again, thank you to Bluetti. I had a great time there in Chino, California. I'm really excited to see this product once it comes out and is available. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Don't hesitate to ask Bluetti themselves. I don't have all the answers. I'm not an official sponsorship. They didn't even pay me to make this video. But it was fun to look at the product beforehand. It's a very rare opportunity, and it's all because you guys watch these videos that I put out. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye. Well, I finally decided to do a little bit more maintenance on my 2001 Beaver Patriot Thunder. I've undressed it a little bit here so I can get access to the radiator. This big guy is not the radiator, that's the intercooler. Radiator's behind it, right there. The last service I haven't changed out any fluids on is going to be the coolant. Even though I suspect it'll be fine. Looks pretty good. Now, I did recently, or at least a few months ago, just put a new surge tank in. And while I did show that process on a video, this is the nice steel one there, instead of the plastic one that was cracking. But when I did that video, everybody said, why didn't you flush out your coolant system? So I'm doing that now. So far, it still doesn't look like it's too cloudy. But the engine coolant is the last fluid that I really haven't serviced ever since I purchased this. Engine oil's been done, transmission's been done, generator's been done. I mean, I guess that's not completely true. The power steering, I haven't flushed that out yet, but come on. You can imagine there's gallons and gallons and gallons. I don't know the capacity of this. But it'll be a good peace of mind when this is all flushed out, because that's one less thing I have to worry about. But hopefully I have enough coolant here. Though I do have my doubts, because that's a really big radiator. And an even bigger engine. But wish me luck. This will take a little bit. But let's take a sample of it and see what all the professionals would think about the condition of the fluid. I won't be sending this one out for analysis. I don't know. It's maybe a little cloudier than I thought it was. And that seems to be the lowest point in the coolant system right there. Seems like a waste not to change out this radiator hose now, right? But I guess I don't see anything really wrong with it. But also, I'm here, right? Decisions, decisions, decisions. And you know, might as well drain the brand new search tank, right? It definitely made this a lot more difficult than a simple mechanic like me can do. I got my low-tech method though. It's working. All right, it's empty.